Time now for business news. We check back in with Mike Eppel for the latest, and the Canadian dollar starting the week on a high.
Yeah, it's been on a bit of a rebound here. Good morning, Tammy. We've got it above 77 cents U.S. Two-month high for the loonie, coming despite some of the concerns that we've seen over the course of this summer, whether it is on the trade file, the Canadian economy may be underperforming what we're seeing in the United States. The loonie is elevated and looking pretty good as of this morning. Of course, has implications for the trade file from an export standpoint, but late last week we learned that Canadian exports, in fact, in the month of June hit an all-time record high. So even with everything that's going on the trade between Canada and the U.S. and the NAFTA file, for example, Canadian exports are doing well, and so is the Canadian dollar. We will be looking at the possible economic consequences of this diplomatic dispute between Canada and Saudi Arabia, whether or not if it escalates and you've got Saudi Arabia's neighbors in the Middle East coming on side, and does that affect trade on an exponential basis? At this point, not so much, but again, something to follow as we're tracking that developing scenario. Also of note this morning here in the province, the announcement of the Buck a Beer campaign by Premier Doug Ford. Which companies will be going on and taking advantage of possible incentives to lower the price for beer? Will it be the smaller brewers? Will it be the majors, the Molson Coors of the world? We'll see exactly how that plays out and the possible implications in the brewing segment. Markets look good across the board this morning. We've got the S&P 500 on Wall Street within 1% of its record high. More earnings due this week, and a spotlight on Canadian jobs with the unemployment statistics due on Friday morning. That's it from here. We'll send it back to the studio.